Breaking, Zelensky's victory plan revealed. Another topic, new level of desperation. United States concerned by reports of North Korean soldiers joining Russia in Ukraine. Interview on UATV English is the third topic. The US considers Korean soldiers in Ukraine a desperation sign for Putin's regime. Is that so? We'll discuss it with an expert. Good afternoon. These topics in more detail in our daily episode with me, Henry Keane, and UATV English doing our best to bring the hard truth in easy terms for the whole free world directly from Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy presented Ukraine's much-debated victory plan at Parliament today, though some parts still remain classified.
Ми повинні реалізувати план перемоги, щоб примусити Росію.
We must implement the victory plan to force Russia to attend the peace summit and be ready to end the war. So, the plan consists of 5 points and 3 secret annexes. Point 1 is geopolitical. Points 2 and 3 are military. Point 4 is economic. Point 5 of the victory plan is security.
The plan involves 3 classified appendixes, and these classified items will be presented to faction leaders. If the plan is supported, we can end the war no later than next year, Zelenskyy said in the parliament, in the presence of Commander-in-Chief Oleksandr Kraiev, Military Intelligence Chief Kirill Budanov, and Western diplomats. Ukraine's invitation to join NATO is placed at the top of the list. Kiev submitted its application to join in September 2022, but has yet to receive a clear signal from the allies. Well, while waiting for that clear signal, please let me put in easy terms all 5 parts of Ukrainian victory plan for you. First step of the plan stresses out the necessity to bring the war instigated by Russia back to Russia, onto Russian territory, such as, that's right, the Kursk incursion launched by Ukraine in early August. The second part calls for lifting restrictions on long-range strikes into Russian turf, additional supplies of long-range weapons and Western support in downing Russian missiles and drones over Ukraine. The third part refers to non-nuclear deterrence and includes a classified topic. Ukraine is proposing a comprehensive non-nuclear strategic deterrence package on Russian turf that would safeguard the country against future aggression. The fourth part addresses Ukraine's use of its natural resources such as uranium, titanium and lithium, which presents economic growth potential for Kiev and the EU. Ukraine is offering a special joint investments and also a development of these resources jointly with the EU and the United States. That part also calls for ramping up international sanctions against Russia to undermine its ability to sustain aggression. And final, fifth part, relates to Ukraine's post-war security architecture. The Ukrainian army is a large and experienced military force that should strengthen NATO and the European continent. Well, all I can say here from that non-classified parts that are available, amen. At least it looks just and comes from Ukraine and not from China and Brazil and other friends of peace, each wanting own piece of Ukraine. Let us look back over the shoulder a bit, shall we? Russian dictator Putin visited North Korea for the first time in 24 years of his dictatorship in June, when he and Kim signed a so-called comprehensive strategic partnership, whatever that means, a clause similar to Article 5 of NATO. Should either country get into state of war due to an armed aggression, the other shall immediately provide military and other assistance with all the means at its disposal, states the pact, published by North Korean state media. And now the ties between communist dictatorships developed enough for Korean cannon fodder to be deployed in Ukraine. Washington calls Pyongyang soldiers joining Russian occupying forces in Ukraine a new level of desperation. Such a move would also indicate a new level of desperation for Russia as it continues to suffer significant casualties on the battlefield in its brutal war against Ukraine. Sean Savit, White House National Council spokesperson. President Zelenskyy recently accused North Korea of sending personnel to support Russia and said that Moscow plans to actually involve Pyongyang in the war in the coming month. While the Kremlin has denied the reports, there is mounting evidence that the Russian-North Korean cooperation has reached a new level of sorts. Some sources say Pyongyang has sent 10,000 soldiers to Russia, but it is unclear What kind of soldiers these are, the sources cautiously say. Well, let us at UATV English shed some light on the combat qualities of Korean soldiers. 18 North Korean soldiers have deserted from positions on Ukraine's border with Bryansk and Kursk regions of Russia, 7 kilometers from the state border with Ukraine. The motives of that have not yet been cleared, but it is known that Russians are searching for their absent without leave communist comrades, while Russian commanders are trying to conceal the desertion from their higher-ups. North Korea has also supplied Russian forces with artillery shells, not only soldiers, and also ballistic missiles, both extensively used against civilian objects in Ukraine. But jokes aside, recently North Korea has mobilized as much as 1.4 million of its citizens to fight in what they call a holy war. And that is in just 1 week. I wonder what Western expert will say now. Is that just as well a sign of Russian-Korean mutual desperation, maybe? Oleksandr Kraiev, a political scientist, is in our studio tonight as an expert. Oleksandr, hello. Nice to have you with us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
The pleasure is all ours. Straightforward to the questions. Just educate me, Oleksandr. Korean soldiers in Ukraine, well, I myself consider it just a cannon fodder being replenished by Russia. But White House, the one in America, though disagrees with me. It says, let me quote it for you. Such a move would also indicate a new level of desperation for Russia as it continues to suffer significant casualties on the battlefield in its brutal war against Ukraine. End of quote. And that's said by Sean Soviet, White House National Council spokesperson. Oleksandr, in one of your articles, you call the Korean soldiers' presence in Ukraine a provocation from Putin's side. How come? What did you mean by that?
That's definitely a provocation. And if we speak from the point of view of international system, it's basically a delirious idea. It's not only a provocation towards the United States or towards Ukraine, it's a provocation towards the whole international order, because previously it was suggested that any kind of enlargement of big international conflicts, and the Russian aggression against Ukraine is definitely one of the biggest up to the point starting from the Second World War. Any enlargement of such conflict with the direct involvement of any third party will definitely be regarded as not only an escalation but also a direct course into the nuclear annihilation, because we do understand that Korea also possesses some kind of a nuclear arsenal. We do understand that Russia from the starting point was the biggest, second biggest nuclear power, and that is why entangling North Korean soldiers into the fighting in Ukraine with boots on the ground, not only with the industrial support or with the military support with hardware, but with the soldiers definitely fighting against Ukraine, there's definitely a very dangerous and uncontrolled provocation. And that is why, from my point of view, I think I will give a cliffhanger here.
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
reaction of the White House as of now is not sufficient. It is definitely not enough just to say it's a provocation.
So you just killed my another question. So what are you saying? You're saying that there's going to be no reaction from the West side. I mean, they're just West side, nicely put. Well, I mean, another fears of escalation, talks and nothing happens, and that's okay. So, you know.
Well, there are two, let's say, two variants how to address this issue. First one is more realistic, because as of now we do see lack of such reaction. We see, as you rightfully suggested, we see talks, we see a lot of talking but no walking. We definitely do understand that the West is now curious how to react to such a situation, because it was not suggested within the strategic documents and within the strategic vision of Russian aggression. But there are also a positive side of the issue, and as we do know, as of now, Biden will meet with French, British and German leadership when he will be on his trip in Germany. They will definitely speak about the necessity for Ukraine to launch long-range missiles into Russian territory. They will also speak about some kind of a negotiation starting point for Ukrainian accession into NATO. It is not an accession per se, it is just the starting point. But I do believe that if we speak from the positive side of the issue, such reaction from the West as providing Ukraine with long-range missiles and getting Ukraine invited into NATO, well, that may be a sufficient reaction to the Russian idea of enlarging conflict with North Korea.
Well, Alexander, tell me honestly, how do you know the questions that I planned to ask you? You're just a political
Well,
scientist, and now you're just reading all the questions. And my question was, some media say that Biden plans to meet Scholz, and you say that he will meet. Maybe you know more. Okay, Macron, Starmer, Scholz, and Biden meet in Germany. Could we in Ukraine be, I don't know how to put it, cautiously optimistic about the meeting in terms of whatever, long-range restrictions lifted, possibly NATO, anything? Cautious optimism, yes or no?
Yes, we definitely should be optimistic, but yes, we should definitely put it with a grain of salt, because it is not about the fast results and fast decisions and getting into NATO in the next, I don't know, few weekends. It is about starting the process. It is about getting the necessary hardware as of now. Really, Ukrainian military does have a very big shortage of not only long-range missiles, but also just the general ammunition for our artillery and even the infantry regiments. But why this optimist may be a realistic paradigm after all? Because first and foremost, we do understand that all these decisions made nowadays, like in the midst of October, they will most definitely be implemented after the American election. Well, Biden will not be constrained by any electoral or political dynamics. He will not also be constrained by the necessity to support his party candidate. And the same goes for a lot of European leaders. And as we see, Germans are linking their support to any kind of American decision. And that is why I am being optimistic/realistic that such decision can be taken, such political invitation for NATO can be provided for Ukraine. And of course, if we speak about long-range missiles, then can be provided together with the appropriate suggestions of targets and everything. But although it will be decided nowadays, it only may be applicable starting from the 5th of November.
So are you saying that each missile comes with a grain of salt? Is that right? So after 5th of November?
Yeah, that's absolutely
I think we're okay with that in Ukraine, isn't it? We just can send this grain of salt back to Russia and see what happens.
For sure. We do understand that any development from our Western allies, any development from our partners will be definitely an even bigger grain of salt for our Russian counterparts.
Oh, yeah, absolutely yes. 1,000,000 times yes. I would love to talk about the topic, but let's slide smoothly to another one. Victory plan. Have you seen it? Have you seen the victory?
Unfortunately, none of Ukrainian experts will answer definitely and concisely on this question, because we only have seen the briefest variant which was provided for Ukrainian public.
Okay, the briefest version. Ukraine in NATO in any time soon. Is that possible according to that victory plan? How real is that to you? Give me a speculation. I'm not asking for any firm answer. Your feelings on that.
It is possible, but if we speak about the membership itself, if we speak about the membership of Ukraine in NATO, it's of course a strategic prospect for the next several years, not even months. But if we speak about some kind of a quasi-NATO agreement, some kind of preliminary guarantees provided by the NATO powers, the same as was provided for Finland and Sweden, for example, then we're talking about the nearest future, we're talking about the nearest few months, and we're definitely talking about this meeting of Biden with his European counterparts. So basically, we are on the right path, but we cannot be the one who is pushing or furthering this path even faster. But we are still going and heading in the right direction.
I think, Alexander, you have to go to politics. Anything you say, you finish with a grain of salt. You say, but, and I'm like, oh my God, again, the reasons, the logic, the things, no emotions, but you are emotional and you are passionate. And thank you so very much for this emotion, passion, and knowledge that you just shedded the light on these questions for us and for our beloved audience. So
thank you very much. And I already know who I'll get as my official speaker for the next parliament
really?
The next present administration.
Don't tell me it's me. You're going to flatter me much.
For sure.
All right, I'm going to call you afterwards. We discuss the salary, okay?
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so very much and hope to see you soon in this very studio.
Yeah, see ya. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Oleksandr Kraiev, political scientist, was with us, and that was it for tonight. Thank you so very much for your precious time. It was me, Henry Keen, and my team at UATV English. We did our best to administer at least some hard truth in easy terms for you out there in the free world, directly from Ukraine. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Don't be shy. Your voice matters as it helps Ukrainian voice to be heard worldwide. Stay safe and tune for more tomorrow. Goodbye.